I'm just so lonely, baby. I don't know how to explain. I just keep on talking to myself. Feels like I'm going insane. Sniffing harder and harder, staining clothes in the mud, joining hands with the joke, sweet truth under the rug.
Welcome back to our coverage of UKU Masters Nationals at a rather, I'd say damp, doesn't quite do it justice, neither does soggy, a rather sodden, we'll go with a rather sodden Somerset here in the Glastonbury tournament for UKU Masters Nationals. Benjamin Rees once more with you on the commentary. Ably assisted by Will and Des on the cameras and the knobs and dials. No, that was a point. No, it was a point.
Oh, it was a point, my bad.
So United starting off in strong fashion, taking a 1-0 lead over extra mature Red Leicester, who are back on the stream this game. We saw Red vanquish High Society 39 in the last game. And this is a game that will, in all likelihood, decide who finishes top of the pool. It's a good start for United. Big inside that backhand to start. You see the first Red offense of the game. Tries to toe the sideline, does keep his feet in bounds. Ball's getting really low, trying to put a lot of pressure on. Not a lot developing, has to take the swing. Now looking for it underneath. Oh, this is a bit slow to get there, and defender is able to knock it through. Fakes it down the line, forces very far off. Underneath comes, dished immediately back off. Going towards the front of the end zone. Comfortably caught there with a receiver behind him as well, just in case he missed it. And United looking very good early on in this game. Already 2-0 to the good, and we've barely started. United might be a little bit an advantage here. Obviously, seen that extra mature Red have just come off a game, whereas United had a bit of a break. And especially with the atmospheric conditions as unfavourable as they are, it's been a little bit extra bit warmer. Having a little more juice in your legs might prove valuable. Pool goes out from the United, tails towards this sideline, is going to be caught, not going to wait and see if it drops in bounds. Give the defenders a chance to get there. Oh, they're going to bang it deep. Receiver has there, look at that closing speed, putting on the jets, snag it out of the air. Swing into the middle to start. Cutco develops from very deep. Defender tries to peel off to get the block, can't do it. See him winding up for the big instead. Takes the underneath option, thinks about squeezing it down the line as it comes through. Offense looking a little bit clustered here. Sideline desperately calling for a swing. Take the underneath instead. Fakes the dish. It uses the lefty to centre the disc. Swinging around the back. Cuts it over to the far side, and that was open if they could just execute the throw properly, but overthrew it in the end, and that's going to give Red Leicester a chance at the disc back.
Right, I haven't got time to drink a beer friendly. I'm going to have the net one and I'll get on with it.
It's trying the disc to the front, and it's tapped in. Looking downfield. Doesn't like the option into the middle. Finally takes the underneath cut. Takes a swing. There's an immediate option available. Instead, recycles it, playing through the handlers at the moment. Not getting much downfield movement. Force comes around to stop a throw up the line. High release activates the dump. It's a classic lefty throw, that the inside out backhand. Shooting the blade deep is right on the money. He's not going to be quite in the end zone just yet, though. Does the right thing of taking the reset, and he's going to pop it into the end zone, and Red Leicester are going to get on the board. Their first score of the game. 2-1 to United, the current scoreline. United will be kicking themselves because they had a wide open shot at the end zone and just overthrew it. Hey, you drank my beer, you bastard.
Oh, there's another one. I thought that was yours.
No, yours was down there.
You barely taste the apple. Oh, that's got a lid on. Oh. Do you want that one?
Yeah.
No, it's basically empty. Do you want a new one?
Nah.
So guys, in terms of drug of choice, which is the only allowed on the camera?
Alcohol for me.
I'm hiding the alcohol in this store.
Red with the disc in the air, signal that they're ready to pull. Just waiting for a hand from their United opponents, and the disc goes up. It's a good pull, caught above the head with two hands. Trying to get the disc moving quickly. Red going with the zone. Yeah, he's got their shortest player on the pitch, trying to stretch it deep, hoping that maybe that deep player gets a bit lazy and they can shoot it over the top. Staying patient at the moment, though. Oh, just a poor execution on that throw. Immediately sticks his hand in the air, knows it's his bad, and this is a great chance for Red to earn the break back. Pecking around. Foul called. Someone on the sideline called for a hand signal, was promptly rewarded. Looks like the force and the throw took a little bit of a bump with each other. Making sure it's okay, that's the one we're talking about. This game is played in very good spirits. It's always nice to see. Fakes the high release. And again shows it, but puts it back in the locker. And again, they're faking these throws, but oh, did he pick that up? I think his teammate's calling him down, and he's not going to disagree with them. Wiping the disc, getting it moving around the back. Zone comes back on from Red. Just moving it around the back at the moment. Not a lot of connection between the down and the upfield. Looking a little bit disconnected at the moment. Finally got a bit of speed and movement going in this offense. Squeaking it through the middle that time. Now working it around the back. Nice swing towards the far side. Faking a scuba, just putting it back in the locker. Little no pivot backhand. Oh, nice catch. Had to make the adjustment, was a bit behind. It's very difficult to do in this Wet weather, and just as I say that, what would be normally a simple catch just goes to ground. And again, another short field for Red. See if they can capitalise this time. Oh, they're going to shoot the hammer over the top. There's a receiver wide open. Went with one hand. Couldn't quite pour it in. I thought he was going to make the catch, but just couldn't quite keep it in his clutches. So they've had opportunities this point. Where the zone has done a good job of gumming up what was previously very fluid offense. And it happens once more, just a little turnover in the short field, and they have to convert this time. You get the feeling that United will figure this out eventually, so they have to capitalise while they can. They give it the blade to the back corner. Nice elevating grab with the outstretched right hand. And we're knotted back up now at 2 apiece. This is pointing to a bit of a battle of United not really wanting to advance the disc downfield and Red not wanting to capitalise. But was able to do it that time with a really nice grab, getting up early, plugging it out of the sky with that outstretched right arm. So we're knotted back up at 2 apiece. It's a brief little apology for the clock. We're aware of it, we're trying to get it sorted. Hopefully it shouldn't be too long, but currently 12 minutes into this game against 50 minutes plus the cap. Will, can we have a look at the game clock? It's wrong. Here's United's offense, so that's a nice grab with an outstretched hand. And again, good continuation downfield on the far sideline, looking for the reset back off. Strike cut develops from a very deep position. Little okey doke. And around the back. Recycling it into the centre, keeping the disc moving. Try not to let them get caught on their heels too much. Still count begins to rise. They do find an option on this near side. Thinks about squeezing it in. Being patient with it. Oh, goes for the expansive scuba over the top. More unusual throw there. Probably people shaking their heads thinking like that shouldn't have worked, but he had the receiver in space and knew he had to get it to him somehow, and that proved to be as good a way as any. See it again on the replay. Just heads over to the break side and fades back in towards the centre. A little saucy, salacious little scuba. I love that shot. Absolutely love it. That's going to give United the lead. They're going to chase down the pool. Oh, just a miscommunication there. And United will get the disc in really good field position. Going to take a second to wipe the disc, get any excess moisture off the rim that might affect the fight path. Just make sure the throw is as crisp as possible, and it proves to be not quite executed well enough. Maybe again, just didn't get all the moisture out. Maybe just didn't quite get the throws they wanted. But Red do get the disc back, and now they're trying to march the disc downfield. Finding underneath the cup. Shooting towards the back of the end zone. It's just going to be too far. They had the receiver open with steps, but just overthrew it. And this is what happens when you play good teams, because you're so aware of the defense usually being so tight that when you see these opportunities, often you rush the execution, and that was possibly an example of that there. Just overthrew. Just needs to put just a bit more mayo on that one, just soften it up a little. United bringing it to the front of the end zone. And just swinging it inside the zone at the moment. And working through. This is really nice, running a little bit of homeboy. Getting the gauntlet downfield. All that's going to sit a little bit, but well positioned to reel it in anyway. Shooting for the end zone and just 1-2, 1-2 all the way down the pitch. Just like they're having a throw around in the back garden. Although I must say that would be a very large back garden. United extend their lead over Red here. The on-pitch scoreboard has it at 5-2.
5-2, the one on this side says 40, and I've got it as 3-2. Okay, hold on. Now someone's changed it. Oh, they have it as 5-2. Okay, I'm just bad. 5-2 to United, to United.
Ball goes up from United. Caught in the middle of the end zone by Red. Trying to get the disc moving quickly. Oh, a little bit of a bump there. Get a bit too close to try to put the pressure on defense. Doing a very good job of covering options downfield. Oh, defender slips, but already turned to isolate the reset, so couldn't take advantage of it. And they're just playing within the confines of their own end zone at the moment. That's going to be a pick called. Good strong use of hand signals there, letting everyone know what's going on. Defender just unable to keep up with the matchup. Someone else getting in the way, or stop, or at least take a more circuitous route to get there. So calling the pick is well within their rights to do. Just again, really, this is really tight coverage from United. Finally able to get a bit of it underneath. But when they are going downfield, they're not stringing these passes together. The timing seems a little bit off, and they're going to try and rifle one deep there. They had the height matchup, but the throw did not have enough sit on it or enough height, and no one was able to get there, and that's going to give United a chance to extend the lead. See their offense go to work. Hitting a strike cut, getting the handler up the line, but can't capitalize on the power position. Has to take the swing around the back. Finding it underneath now. It has been in wide open in space. There's no one timing the deep cut efficiently though for it to go. Now looking a bit cluttered. Too many players around the disc. That's a lovely thread through, using a little bit of inside out on that backhand. A little dishy dump off, and receiver's wide open at the front cone. Defense seemingly unable to cover her. So United open up the scoreline once more. After a tight opening section of this game, they're beginning to pull away now. 6-2 the current score. We'll see if Red can mount a bit of a fight back before we get to half-time. Just giving their final instructions, trying to work out how they're going to attack this point defensively. Hand in the air, ready to bully United. I'll see what Leicester's offense has in store. Caught roughly at the front of the end zone. Swing into the centre. It's underneath there. Second one comes through. Oh, tries to take the underneath channel just a split second too slow. Now reeled in with the right hand. I think one of the defenders just got a little bit of contact with the disc. Everyone seems to be okay though. Just players will just reset to their previous positions. Nice underneath. Really well weighted. Good try and shoot for the end zone. That's a much better throw than the previous deep shot. I thought it was good. Had a nice bit of sit on it, but again, just kept going a little bit too much. It's deceptive. Thought it was going to slow up, and it just held all the way through. Agonisingly close for Red. Might be feeling a little bit cheesed off with that one, but Red Leicester will have to switch up and play some defence now. Going to take the swing. There's a wide open player on this side. They're really trying to stop the downfield with this stack. Make them make lots of passes short, and that's why, because in these conditions you can get those short field turnovers. Trying to move the disc, get the offense set in position. Oh, it's going to go off the hands and no one can mop it up at a second attempt. And United don't seem in any mood to hang about either. Seeing beckoning players. It's a big underneath. Going to gain a huge chunk of yardage with that about half the pitch. And that's the advantage of if you go deep and you don't get the disc, you still need to really make an effort to cut under because you can gain so much yardage with it. And that's how they really uncorked the defence there and eventually just a little pop into the end zone for a 7-2 half-time lead. It's very tight at the start, but United have really pulled away, and unless Red can pull proverbial rabbit out of a hat, United are going to run away with this. Welcome back to coverage of UKU Masters Nationals here from the Glastonbury tournament. Benjamin Rees here bringing you the second half of this pool game between United and extra mature Red Leicester. Delighted to be with you despite the, the less than favourable weather conditions. Pretty wet and drab right now. Not the sort of weather you'd necessarily want to be in unless you were out here playing Frisbee. And even then, there's certainly a few players who would probably rather be indoors, but the show must go on. Red Leicester coming out on offense to start this second half. Good. Shooter blade all the way across the field to a player who's opening plenty of space if he has time to set himself and make that catch. It's a nice inside through. There's a continuation to this near side and working through this pretty effectively. This zone's leaving a lot of spaces on the far sides of the pitch if they can just open it up. Takes the reset that time instead. Now swinging it across. Thinks about the little pop through. Certainly, I know that it's difficult with the discus this wet, but I'd be constantly trying to stretch it over the top with hammers and blades and high throws to get it over the top of the defense. So you've got to be careful, of course, about getting it to sit too much. Takes the high release backhand that time, but only to activate the reset. In the centre of the field, got both sides to aim at. There's the pop-up field from the handler position. Squeaking into the end zone. Oh, just rushed a little bit. It sails a bit high. Tried to make the catch anyway, couldn't bring it in. So United will get a chance to break to start the second half. United sideline correctly identifying Red Leicester coming out in a zonal look this time, and United just going to try and boost their way through it. Mopped up at the back by Red, and I don't think the receiver would have got there anyway, but they were determined not to give her the chance. Moving around the back, oh, that throw's just turfed. There's a call downfield to go into a vertical set. A lot of the players don't really seem to be either paying attention or agreeing. I think that we have a problem. The two discs nearby, there's a disc covering a hole, and I think maybe they just went to the wrong one at the start. High release backhand. Going to dish it off. Moving the disc around the back. High release backhand towards the far side and looking in towards the middle of the pitch. Goes for the inside out, right to the front of the end zone for the goal. That's a nice start to the second half for United, and they're going to begin the start of the second in much the way they finished the first, by getting a break, and now they extend the lead once more. 8-2 over Red, the current score. If you are watching and enjoying the coverage, if there's anything you want to say to us, it's always nice to hear people get involved. Do that via Twitter, at Benjamin Rees. Just seeing that on the replay there. Picks out his receiver, gets low underneath the arms of the force. This is why it's really important to practice releasing the disc at various release points, because obviously if players got their hands low, you want to get that release high, and if hands are a bit high, you want to get that release low so you can get it underneath. It's always important to practice these various different release points, and that time the low release proved useful, scything the disc underneath the arms of the force. For the 8-2 lead. Red offense gets back to work. Trying to squeeze it down the sideline. Look for a little second like it might be too far, but it's well caught. You can dish it off. Tying the sideline here on the near side. Again, squeezing it down this channel. See if they try and jam it in the jam hole. Going to try and go for the back of the end zone. Didn't quite have enough on it. Had to get the roll curve to get it around the defender. Was not a huge window, and it would have required throw at the utmost precision, and that time they weren't able to execute it properly. Just couldn't quite pull it off. So again, another break chance for United. You get a cutter going deep. Choose to take the swing instead. Nice switch picked up in a deep space by the red defence. It's good to see teams playing smart, efficient defence. Again, the movement at the moment coming all the way just through the handlers. Oh, I don't think he was the intended target, but he makes the catch anyway. That's why it's always good to have your head on a swivel, because you never know when your number might be called upon. And an excellent grab there, keeping that one alive. Player slides his hands like he thought it deserved to be turned over, and oh, I don't know if there was a bit of contact or the receiver just slipped. There's not going to be a foul called. Oh, again, just throw a bit behind, stack out the paw, couldn't quite get it to stick. Handler's calling for a vertical setup. Takes the reset, happy to lose yards as long as they can keep possession, keep the disc moving. Trying to break the force. Not happening at the moment though. Trying to cut it downfield. Again, dishing it towards the far sideline. Pretty close there, really trying to trap them, not letting them get the break off. Nice purposeful stride. Frees up for the dump cut. Doesn't like the underneath look. Takes a second one instead. The defender's left lagging a bit. Can't force it in though. So it pops up a little bit, comfortably caught without a problem. Goes for the high release. Ah, plucking it out of there with a little bit of flair, a little bit of pomp. Nicely reeled in. First point of contact in the front of the end zone. And United up all over, just rocking and rolling right now with a 9-2 lead. So here, pops the high release backhand up. Picks it out of the sky with the left hand, and that first point of contact, the right foot is definitely in the end zone. Lovely stuff from United. Looking fairly dominant in this game, it must be said. And maybe just a little bit of fatigue, a little bit more lactic acid in the red legs. Proving to be their downfall right now. Why are we not getting colour of that dog? Red sideline trying to get the players on the pitch amped up for this next possession. It's a solid pull, fades towards this near sideline but is caught, and play begins. Good defense, not a lot going on downfield. Takes the break over the top. Lots of communication. Deep shot goes up. No one's going to get there in the end. I think if anyone was going to, the United player was in the much better position to. United's offense now marching down the field, looking pretty calm and assured. Oh, that's a creative little high release flick, bit of inside out shape on it as well. Get the trajectory in the path that he wanted. Now on the brink of the end zone, trying to force it in. Nice high elevating grab by the receiver. Is going to bring it in and 10-2 the current scoreline. This very much feels like game over. In this match anyway, for Red. Their opponent's just 3 points away from a victory. But I've seen stranger things happen on the Frisbee pitch. And as long as you have to put that final point in to win, that comeback's always possible. No matter how unlikely. Ball goes up from United, pretty low and flat. It's caught comfortably in the chest by Red. And a lot of movement going on early on, tries to zing a low IO flick, and that roll Kevin backhand was a bit ungainly, but it got to its target regardless, and we're going to try another blade, this time on the flick side, and that's going to work. Not the prettiest point of ultimate you'll ever see in terms of throwing execution, but they picked the right passes, and that's why, even though it didn't look as 100% as they would have planned, you have that, give yourself that room and that margin for error. And so that's the first Red point we've seen in a fair old while, and it's good to see that they've still got a bit of fight and spirit in this game, although the deficit is very large at 10-3. So for the first time in a fair old while, we're going to see United come out on offense. We'll see what they have in mind. Both these sides not sticking to strict O and D lines, very much rotating through all the time. So it's not like we've got a set of players who are very cold. And this, you see this actually quite a lot. If a D line really gets on a roll, and then eventually, when they can't put it in and the opposition O line does score, the O line often gives up a break because they've just had too much time off the pitch and they're not really as involved. That's a nice low IO backhand, sliding through the cup, moving the disc really quickly, taking the reset. Never letting this Red defense get a chance to get set, doing a very good job of spacing it through the cup and just side through Red Leicester like a hot knife through Dara Lee. So 11-3 the current scoreline, and United just a couple of points away from a win now. So the rain begins to patter down a bit heavier now, both sides. But especially United will want to wrap up this game as quick as possible. Actually, having said that, I think Red will probably rather prolong the game and mount a fight back, but it can be difficult to do this when you're facing such a large deficit and the conditions are as miserable as they are. It's very easy for it to sap your spirit, in all honesty. Catching the ball and getting this moving quickly. So player open on this near side. Going to pivot out and use the flick to get it to him. Now swung back into the centre. He's zone from United, trying to just throw something a little bit different at the Red players. Nice little pop through there. Holsters and thinks about a reset instead. Finally does open up the space for it to go through. And they've just gone beyond the halfway line now. Looking for a high release. Can he toe it in? Excellent footwork, keeping that left foot in bounds. Now squeezing it down this near channel. Going to blade it over the top, and that's a lovely point from extra mature Red. And they showed their maturity there. Didn't look panicked, never looked flustered, and opened up the toolbox of trickeration a little bit there as well. A nice blade over the top of the defence towards that far sideline. Gets the job done. So 11-4 the current score. Get a really good angle on this toe in as well. See whether it was in. It looked in from where I was. You can see there that left foot's definitely very much inbound. Excellent bit of footwork there from the Red player. Love the presence of mind to know that he needs to make that toe in. And as well the ability to... It's one thing knowing what you have to do, and it's another thing actually going out there and doing it. And he did both excellently there. And there's the blade over the top towards the far side for the goal. So United currently leading 11-4. We're going to see their offense come out again. Dishing it off, trying to work upfield. Trying to move it predominantly through the handlers to start at this point. Looking at these incremental, or as you follow cycling, be familiar with the concept of marginal gains. Although admittedly not in this context. But they're just really matriculating it down the field. I was going to say never doing anything expansive, and that's why Red defenders first to the disc. Taking the swing into the centre. Finding underneath. Looking for an option. Nothing really going on for Red. Undercut develops from very deep, and it was open, but it just went through his hands. See it again on the replay. Just, you can see him look at his hands in frustration, like he'd been betrayed. And a hand block on the force. Nice little slap of hands. Good show of sportsmanship. Faked the low release and then went a bit higher and smothered at the point of attack. Again, undercut develops from quite a deep position. They're going to gain a few yards. Shooting for the end zone. The throw is going to sit a little bit, but the defender is not going to get there. And extra mature Red get their first break of the game. It feels like it's too little too late, seeing the turn there, the little hand block on that line. And then big gainer downfield and bit of a double happiness as well, getting the block and then the assist. Comes underneath here. Sees the option go. Puts a nice bit of float on it as well. Just sits and he's able to get underneath it. Defenders left trailing in the dust. It's a nice low grab as well, actually. Has to get both his hands underneath and really scoop it from saving. Being hit on the turf. He can't quite see the catch. His teammate already beginning to clap. He knows that he's done the hard work of creating the separation, and all he has to do is make the catch, and he duly does so. So, Red putting up a bit of a fight back at the end of this game. 11-5 the current scoreline. So after giving up a break for the first time in a while, airline comes out again. More zone from Red. Trying to squeak it through. Just finally find an option. Now dish back and towards the sideline. Faking the through. There's an over the top there if they want it. Going to just holster it instead. but into the teeth of that cup. Try and do it again. Defender closes in, but too late. If they can find a shot through, there was an option. Nice little into the middle. Defender tries to come through and underneath. Not going to get there. Pops it off to the handler. Receiver's open at the front of the end zone. Chops his feet, toes inbounds for the 12-5 scoreline. And now just 1 point away, United, from sealing another win. Didn't like the options he saw outfield, but did the right thing. If you pop it off to a handler who's running through, they've got the advantage of being able to see the field as they're running through and getting ready to catch. So as soon as they've got the disc in their hands, they can already begin to pick out an option, opposed to someone cutting underneath from a deep position where they've got to catch. And obviously, if you're attacking the disc at full speed, you're not able to look around at what's going on behind you. So by the time you catch the disc, wasted a couple of seconds turning around, getting into position after you slow down, you're then got to spend a couple of seconds finding an option, and it really does eat up the stall count and slow down your offense. So dishing the disc off to handlers running through is a great way of speeding up the pace of play and allowing you to hit those downfield cutters a bit quicker. It's a big pull going up from United. It's going to hang. It's got a bit of float on it. Going to give United a chance to chase and hustle it down. Nothing immediately available. Just swing into their own end zone. This is very much Callahan country, or not, as the disc is dropped. And this is a perfect opportunity to end the game. Right on the front of the end zone. Can I ask for better field position? This really may be slightly more central, but apart from that, this is the dream position to pick the disc up in. Pivots around, doesn't like that backhand though. Thinks about popping it to the front of the end zone. Maybe dishing it off. Takes a reset, not afraid to lose yards, keep the possession. Swing goes, caught with two hands. Takes it underneath, cutter clears out of that lane. Just going to swing the disc around the back in the meantime till they can open someone up. There's a shot there on the inside out channel. Jam and squeeze it in there. Nice bit of fire on that flick, and that's going to be enough to seal the game here. Red had a nice little spirited fire back towards the end of the game, but it was too little too late. United did all the hard work in there. Good value, and they thoroughly deserved their victory here at UKU Masters Nationals. Final score in this pool game between United and extra mature Red Leicester is United 13, Red 5.